From LALATE News Headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
And it's a major morning of Mornings LALATE as the financial markets really crash based upon the comments from Jay Powell this week at the Federal Reserve. The stock market, the bond market, the financial markets, domestically and internationally, all imploding. And we'll go over the latest details in a very different broadcast today. And today we'll recap how we got here. We'll go over the narration and the duration of that inflation. Then we'll go over why a recession is going to be the most pronounced we've seen of a generation. A very dark recession, as says Jeremy Seacon, the Wharton School of Business professor. All the latest details across the board. Then we'll go over where we're heading thereafter. Why you have to get that fourth stimulus check in every U.S. state. Today we have some major breaking news about stimulus. Lots of it. Number one, that your benefits may go up even more than I had recorded over the last few days. Why? I'll show you why into this day's recording. It's getting really exciting. Then, new stimulus checks, brand new, that are coming from your state. We call them Check D for donut, because you don't have to do anything to get those incredible checks. We'll go over the latest details of these brand new checks that are being revealed for the first time ever in today's recording. Plus, we'll go over the other checks that viewers are getting. The massive stimulus from the federal government, 300 checks, 14 categories, $300,000. You need it, because guess what? We're going into a very dark time in which this economy is going to get a lot worse very quickly. And that dark time started this week. Financial cliff has started. We'll go over everything you need to know on the shores of Santa Monica, California. And we'll go over everything I need to know, which is where my bacon is. Where is my bacon? No, that will be left out of this broadcast. For the shores of Santa Monica, California, we got a lot to cover in a slightly different morning broadcast. It's a major show with new stimulus, new money, and the latest recap of where these markets went in such a short period of time this week. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, let's get to the breaking news. As the toast is toasted, the butter is buttering, and the coffee is brewing as Mornings LA gets underway for September 24, 2022. And good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day along the coast here in Santa Monica, California. It is September 24, 2022, and we got a major recording today. This is not a usual recording because a lot happened this week. That a lot involves this economy, world economies, financial crises, markets imploding, and we're going to go over all that, plus the big news of new stimulus and the news of the existing stimulus that viewers are getting massive checks. A lot to cover. It's a slightly different broadcast. But first, how are you? Hope you're great. And thank you for joining me on this weekend edition of Mornings LA live on air. Hope you're having a beautiful day across the board. And God bless you and your family. Let's go right into today's recording. It's different. Today's recording is different because there's a lot to recast and go back over to bring it up to the breaking news that's happening right this moment. And let's do it starting right now. It began in spring of 2021. In spring of 2021, I was the only financial broadcaster to report that the U.S. economy was going to suffer inflation at 8% in December 2021, and it was not going to go away. Why was I able to project it at the time, and what was happening? We had come off of the lockdown of COVID, and this was the problem. Supply chain disruption. What is supply chain disruption? It meant that during the lockdown, they had laid off the truck drivers, laid off the pilots, laid off the shippers. So suddenly, when we were done with lockdown, done with COVID, we didn't have the shipper or the truck driver or the pilot. And they needed to get the products from the farm to you, from the factory to you. and they didn't have those employees ready to go. That is why we had something create called supply chain disruption. Suddenly, the eggs in the supermarket that would be $1 a dozen went to $4 a dozen because they didn't have the truck driver, they didn't have the shipper, and they didn't have the pilot. At the time, you saw my hand moving a lot. Where was my hand moving? My hand was doing this. Yeah, remember back then? What was that gesture about? It was about a expression the Federal Reserve was using at the time. Transitory. Never in my lifetime have I ever used this word transitory until I heard it from the Federal Reserve. It was a fancy word for the word temporary. They said with this hand gesture that inflation is going to go up and come quickly right back down. Temporary spike. And they said it was going to be a 2, 3, or 4% inflation in December of last year. Temporary, up and back down. That we'd be back down to normal in January, February. I said, no. Why? Because the inflation is being caused by the lack of truckers and shippers and pilots. That's not going away in a few weeks. Well, what happened in January of this year? The Federal Reserve came in and realized inflation was not going away. And I said, yes, because supply chain is still there. By March, we had Putin invade Ukraine. That caused the second type of impact, gasoline prices going up. At that point, by March, we had two causes of inflation, gas prices higher and supply chain disruption. And what did Jay Powell and the Federal Reserve, whose policy is to get inflation down, do? They said, we're going to raise interest rates to get prices down because we're having problems with truck drivers. Now, does that sound hysterical? It should, but it still remains our policy today. We have a problem with a lack of truck drivers, so we're going to raise interest rates. Excuse me? How does that work? I don't understand that. Can someone explain this to me? You don't have enough pilots, you don't have enough truck drivers, you're going to raise interest rates. And that's going to work? Yeah, that's what I said in January and February this year. Raising interest rates because you don't have enough truck drivers or shippers is not going to work. And then when we had gas prices higher, I said raising interest rates is not get gas prices down caused by Putin. It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. By February of this year, 2022, I said that based upon what the Federal Reserve is doing, you're going to be going into recession for 2 years, starting in January of 2023 for 2 years. At the time, no one anywhere else was saying there was going to be a recession, except me. Banks refused to use the word. Analysts refused to use the word. Jamie Dimon, head of JP Morgan Chase, refused to use the word. These are smart people in smart educations and smart institutions refused to use the word recession. Today on Afternoon to LA at 1 o'clock Pacific, 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, I asked you to watch that show because you're going to see a personal story about me and my life in which I discussed recession with someone for the very first time in February, and that person almost lost it. They were so shocked when I told it to them face to face. This is off camera. You've never heard this anecdote before. Watch that afternoon show at 3 o'clock today. But I told it to you. I told it to you. And you were so smart. What did you say? In March of 2022, you said, what you're showing me, LA, doesn't look good for this economy. I need a stimulus check. In March of this year, you said, get me stimulus checks. This economy is not looking good the way you're teaching us. And you've always told us get stimulus ahead of the ball game, get it before things get bad, get us when there's lots of money available. Can you get us some stimulus? And in the month of March, I did. And that stimulus is still around. If you're just watching this channel, you just found this channel today, welcome. Let's go over those first checks of March 2022. Those first 3 checks were found by me because of the viewers of this channel were so smart and said, go find us some checks. And those first 3 checks are checks A, B, and C, passed by the President of the United States by executive action in the month of March. It's federal stimulus from the federal government, not from your state, from the U.S. government, about $100,000. Single individual, 75,000 less, you get it. Married couple, 150,000 less, you go get it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, we'll go over all these incredible checks for you in a second. Don't worry. Stay this big second half. We're going to go over each of these checks, how you get them, and where they are, and everything about those individual checks. For now, just become a member and stay with me as we go over what happens. That was March. Well, the Federal Reserve started to raise rates in March, and inflation did not go down. April, and it continued to do it, and it wasn't working. Then, in the month of May, this is what happened. Walmart and Target reported corporate earnings and said, this economy's hurting our business. This economy's really hurting our business. And their guidance downward was so severe in that May report that the markets crashed. They crashed. And this is what the markets look like. They went straight down very quickly in just a few days in the month of May. And then something I've never seen before in the history of this channel. I don't think I've ever seen in the history of my lifetime. And I'm still to this day, I feel bitter in my mouth even to describe it because I think it's so horrible. There was these group of people on Wall Street starting in May, June, July, and early August. You know who they are, but I'm not going to name them by name. They're on Wall Street that said, buy stocks, buy crypto, buy real estate. They said it in May, June, July, and August. And what do? They got the markets to go back up. They got the markets from that crashing of May from Walmart and Target to suddenly go up. And there was basically like a peer pressure event. Buy, buy, buy. And I said, no, no, no. Because in a recession, stocks go down 50%, and you were only down 12%. During that same period of time, we saw something very, very serious happening, you and I. And what was it? The Federal Reserve governors were coming out in the month of July saying, we have to get inflation to 2%, and we're going to raise interest rates until we get it to 2%, and we're at 8.5%. They said that in July, and what was Wall Street telling you? The Federal Reserve, Wall Street is saying to you, the Federal Reserve is going to stop it in October of this year. They're going to change their mind, Wall Street said, and they're going to stop raising those interest rates in October, Wall Street said. I said to you, no, the Federal Reserve is not going to stop in October. They said they're not, and they're going to be doing this into next year, these interest rate spikes. Finally, it brings us up to the present. On Tuesday, the Federal Reserve had a meeting. And this we knew was a major meeting. Why? The Federal Reserve did not meet in the month of August. And that for 2 months, since at least July, we had heard all this fake narrative on Wall Street. Federal Reserve is going to stop. Federal Reserve is going to stop in October. Federal Reserve is going to stop in October. Federal Reserve Jay Powell came out and chairman came out and said, no, we're not stopping in October. No, we're continuing next year, just like LALATE said. Well, he didn't name me by name. And then the slight surprise. Jay Powell said, we're going to continue these interest rate spikes not into just next year, but into 2024. There you go. 2% inflation is not achieved in just a few weeks. And there you go. The markets imploded. What did I tell you on Tuesday when I had the breaking news report of Jay Powell's comments? I told you at the time, at the middle of the day, that the Dow was only down about 200 points. And I said, don't take that to the bank, because guess what? Last time Jay Powell crashed the markets, his statements crashed the markets the day after. That's exactly what happened. The day after Jay Powell's comments, the markets really crashed, and they continue to crash. And that brings us up to the present. The great news is I have massive stimulus for you, and the reason you need to get this stimulus right now is because it's going to be a 2-year recession. Jeremy Siegel, the head of the Wharton School of Business economist, says it's going to be a very dark recession. I'll explain to you that more in a second, but the great news is that 3 checks that you've had me find for you in the month of March is now 300 checks, not 3 checks, and about $300,000. It's all from the federal government. It's 14 categories of checks, and those 14 categories of checks are absolutely huge. And what happened after those first 3 checks? Well, the first 3 checks, A, B, and C, were then followed up by more checks, and those more checks were passed by Congress, E through K. And as soon as they were passed by Congress, I delivered them to you, the members. I said, go get these right away because the markets are going to get really bad very quickly. I found these checks, I think E through K, in about early August. Then I started to find you more checks for the Purple Power, the members of this channel. I found you L and M, N and O, P and Q, bringing the grand total of checks on this channel to 300 checks, about $300,000. And there you go. That is why you need to get it. Now, the breaking news right today is that there is, as I've said since spring of this year, going to be a 2-year recession. And a $600 check is not going to pay your bills for even 4 weeks, not even a month. But I want you to know the excitement of new state stimulus checks. I don't really cover them often on this channel. They're check D for donut. No joke. I had this discussion with Dragon over the weekend. I call it check D for donut. I mean, you don't have to do anything. On Monday's broadcast on this channel, Monday's broadcast, all of them, I will be featuring these new check Ds. Yes, states are now sending out new state stimulus checks. They're different than the 30 checks, the 300 checks that went over. These are state checks. You should not be celebrating about them just days ago. Let me go over the details of what's going on with the raise of additional benefits starting right now. First, I'm going to tell you why, and then you and I are going to discuss the analysis shortly thereafter. The why starts right now with the details of the following. The why is, first, that gasoline prices in the United States are suddenly going up. If you're a member of the channel and you read the newsletter nightly, delivered to you Monday through Friday as a member of the channel, you may have watched the AAA national average suddenly move this week. I watched it. I blinked. I said, did I see that right? It was around Tuesday when the number was no longer lower than the day before. Over the last few months, it's 20 cents down every day, 10 cents down every day. But I think it was around Tuesday, it didn't move. It was flat. I said, wait, this is the same number I had the day before. Then on Wednesday, it went up about 4 or 5 cents. I say, excuse me? Then the day after that, it went up almost 10, 20 cents in one day. Here we go. Gasoline, the AAA national average, is going up. And this is breaking news you're hearing right now on this channel. This means that your benefits could be going up even more than I had been recording in recent days. Let's jump right into the data right now. The CPI-W for the month of July was an 8.7. For the month of August was an 8.9. And in recent days, you and I were discussing what we thought this September, this month, CPI-W would be. I said 8.9, comma, California, based upon the milk and the eggs and the rent and the salaries and the food, and all understanding that gasoline was still going down the month of September. Wow, here we go. Gasoline is going up, baby. So, jump in the live chat right now before we go over into the analysis. With the news, the breaking news, that gasoline is now going up in the month of September, when that was projected to go further down in the month of September, are you changing your CPI-W number for September that you have previously answered on this channel? I am. I'm not putting it in 9.0 yet. It's almost like an 8.95 because I have to see how this plays out in the next few days because we have a few more days in the month of September. But as of today's recording, I am changing my number from 8.9, comma, California to about 8.95 California. If it continues, I will go to 9.0. That is a major shocker of a story. So jump in the live chat. Where do you think this CPI-W now, as of today, I know we're not done with the month of September, is based upon the news that gasoline, AAA national average, is suddenly going higher? Now let's go over the other data to analyze the situation. How are we able to do this? Well, the reason we're able to do this is because the Federal Reserve did not meet in the month of August. And they just met this week, and whatever they did this week, 75 basis points, will not impact inflation at all. It's too late in the month. So get ready to get into the live chat. We're going to do some questions and answers. Let's do some warm-ups, some easy ones. Are the medical bills going down this month? Of course not. They went up the prior month, 8.8% compared to the month of July. Number two, is the rent going down? Of course not. The rent went up also 0.8% compared to the month of July in the month of August. Then the last number is the salaries. Salaries going down? No. They also went in the month up in the month of August, 0.2%. So rent, salaries, and medical bills went up in August. They're clearly going up in September. That was the warm up. All right, let's have some fun. Let's do some products. New one. Let's lead with butter. Butter. I can't believe it's not butter. Is the butter going up or down in your state? The answer would be something like butter up, comma, Tennessee. All right, here we go. Butter. I'm going to say butter up, comma, California. That's my answer. It has really gone up. Jump the live chat. Let's do another one. Let's do something different today. Yogurt. Yogurt. I'm going to say yogurt very up, very up in comma, California. It is simply not gone down at all. And then you ready for this one? This is a familiar one. The total grocery bill. Jump in the live chat. Has a total grocery bill gone up or down, comma, your state? I had said in the recent days, groceries up, comma, California, but in the last 2 days, it was yesterday. No, it was 2 days ago. 2 days ago, I went into one market, and I guess I can say which market it was, Smart and Final. Their prices were so up, I actually said, I'm not coming back. They were too high for my taste. Here's an example. I picked up a bag of cherries. It said $2.69 a pound. I said, but this feels sort of heavy. How many pounds is this? It took a while to find a scale to weigh it, and I found a scale somewhere in a corner. 3 pounds. I said $7 for a bag of cherries. I will be leaving that. Thank you so much. So I am saying groceries way up, comma, California. What do you say? Jump in the live chat and write your answer for groceries. So there you go. With that, I clearly am comfortable saying an 8.95 CPI-W, comma, California. And if it continues, I'm saying 9.0. That could mean a lot more for your benefits. I have been projecting your benefits to go up about 11% based upon an 8.9. But if we head to a 9.0, this could be even more. Once your benefits go up, they never go down. Remember that across the board. And this is the largest lifetime of a raise of your benefits you have ever seen. This, my friends, is really why you have to get this 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state. We now have 14 categories of incredible 300 checks that yield $300,000. And the reason you need to get this stimulus, this federal stimulus, which is tens of thousands of dollars, is that there's going to be a very dark recession. I had told you in spring of this year, February, that there's going to be a recession. No one would dare use the word at the time. I also told you that a financial cliff is coming in September. We are now starting the financial cliff. It started exactly when we thought it would start, when the Federal Reserve came in and said, we're going to raise those interest rates all the way into not next year, but the year after that. And the markets imploded. The situation in the markets today are the following. Stocks are down about 6% on Friday in one day. Many stocks are already down 30%, and they will go down at least 50% in recession. The price of gasoline is now falling dramatically. Why? Because the thought that there's going to be a recession. That's the international price of Brent crude. I don't confuse you. International price of Brent crude is falling dramatically, under $90 a barrel, whereas the domestic price of gasoline has gone up. Why? Because of hurricanes. We already knew this. We already discussed this channel. September, hurricanes and tornadoes come in the Pacific and the Gulf of Mexico. It brings up the AAA national average. Gasoline's up, and the big move of where it went up higher was in the southwest, like Texas, all the way over to the Panhandle. That's where gasoline went up very quickly, and that's why it's going up. The housing market really imploding, the crypto market really imploding, and this is why you have to get that 4 stimulus checks. You need to get all these incredible checks, and how do you do them? You go under this video, you become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. And in the big second half, I'm going to show you each of these individual checks one at a time. $300,000, 14 categories of 300 checks. You need this money because with a 2-year recession, $600 checks aren't going to cut it. $1,000 checks aren't going to cut it. And this is the time and place to really get these big checks. We're going to go over all those incredible checks in just a second. But what do? You go on in this video, become a member, and the big second half, all this is going to get detailed one at a time. Plus, I'll go over more about what you're going to see today on this channel, and I'll also go over what you're going to see this week from the financial markets as the implosion continues. I'll see you back in 60 seconds with all those incredible checks on mornings.
If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
And the excitement continues in the big second half of a beautiful day here along the coast. Hope you're doing well. A forced stimulus check, lots of it, 300 checks, up to $300,000 is federal stimulus from the federal government, not from your states, and they are around right now. Back in the month of March, viewers were so smart. They said, LA, go get me some checks, and I got you those first 3 checks, A, B, and C. Then I continued to find you checks, E through K. Thereafter, I found you L, M, N, O, P, and Q. And we're going to go over all these incredible checks right now for you. How do you get these checks? First, you become a member. Second, you get that membership newsletter. And third, you go apply for these incredible checks. These are monster checks. You need monster checks because there's going to be a monster recession, 2 years of it. Let's go over all these incredible checks starting right now. The first check, of course, is a $6,500 to $12,000. A forced stimulus. How do you get this? Become a member. Go right down the membership newsletter, apply for check A. Let's go to check B, $15,000 to $80,000 for stimulus. How do you get it? Become a member, go down the newsletter, and apply for this incredible stimulus. Check C, incredible rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, more. You become a member, get that newsletter. It tells you who to call, what to say, and how to say it. Check C has been around a long time. I got viewers this check C in the darkness of the pandemic in December 2020. And since then, got the viewers nearly $50 million for this and other sums of money. Let's look at these incredible numbers for check C. Do you want some rent like this? $30,000 of rent. We'll go get you check C. These are success stories from viewers on this channel, members. Here's utilities. Go get these incredible sums of money for check C. Go get them right now. And then, what about some SNAP? Mark's brother-in-law is getting $250,000. He also got $15,000 of utilities. Combinations. Nieces are $23,000. Now she's at $50,000. Mark is at $32,000. Now he is at a wonderful $166,000 after going to $50,000. And Lorraine is at $105,000. Then she went to $155,000. Just incredible. Absolute enormous sums of money. Here's some success stories on this channel in the last few days. Dragon was at $140,000 for her and her family. Now she's at $170,000. She got $30,000 a few days ago. Longtime viewer Frank Mancuso got 18 months of mortgage, 18 months of utilities, 18 months of interest. Another viewer out of Florida got 80 to 100 checks, nearly $100,000. Lynn Glenn, a longtime viewer, got 12 months of utilities. She also got some rent. Another viewer got 12 months of utilities. Two viewers got 14 months of rent. Spelly got check A and also some check C. Viewers getting monster sums of money. You're seeing all these stories across the board on this channel. Then we had the wonderful story of Johnny. Johnny's story was huge, $45,000 in just 2 days, and then $80,000 in 4 days. I'll be going back to Johnny in a second. But let's continue with some more checks. E through K were passed by Congress about, I think it's about 5 weeks ago by now. And those incredible checks are featured in a primetime special on this channel because they were passed on a Sunday. And viewers started applying for them right away. Let's look at those incredible checks, E through K. They're in the membership newsletter together. E, $7,500 for a car. Great. F, $4,000 for a car. Insane. G, 30% off. Wow, great money. H, $2,000 for a appliance around the home like a refrigerator. Just huge, great news. I, $8,000. Wow. J, $8,000. Look at this great money. And K, $14,000. Oh, that sounds wonderful. That's for brand new appliances as well. That sounds incredible. Here is stimulus L and M for lots and money. L is $100,000 on average of a loan interest-free money for the purchase of a brand new home, and M, $4,000 of free money grants for closing costs. Just huge. Next is really one of my favorite stimulus items. My favorite is N, like Nancy, and it's $100 towards a brand new laptop, tablet, or computer. And many of the great tablets on the market are less than $100, so this is perfect for you. I love this. Isn't that great? Free internet as well. And then O is zero down payment, zero closing costs, zero insurance, and zero credit check for a brand new first home. If you have an existing home, or you were in a refi or something like that, P and Q, $8,000 of closing costs and 30% down. Just absolutely incredible. And yes, on Monday's broadcast, throughout that Monday, I will be going over that new Stimulus D. You shouldn't be really excited about Stimulus D because it's less than $1,000. $1,000 ain't gonna, pay 1 month of bills in this economy. But every dollar counts, and that'll be featured on Monday. Again, you have to file tax returns and make, about the same eligibility, less than $150,000. A lot happening. Now, what do you need to know? You need to know that you gotta get this money quickly, and you gotta put the effort in. Let me use Johnny as that example. Johnny started on a Monday with $0 as a viewer of this channel member, and then by Wednesday, $45,000. By Friday, Johnny had $80,000. He got $80,000 from this channel in 4 days. How many programs was he approved for $80,000? 7. So he called out, he contacted, he applied at 7 places? No. He applied at 15 places. He applied at 15 places in 4 days to get $80,000. Do you see the effort there? He made the effort. He also had exactly what I project on this channel, but I'm bringing it back more on here so you hear it more often again. About a 50% rejection rate. You will get about a 50% rejection rate. It's fine. That's how it works. Johnny reached out to 15 places. He got approved by 7. He got rejected by 8. And that's how I got $80,000. Now and then, sporadically, once in a while, I hear someone say, I reached out to my county. They don't have any money. I'm done with this. Now I'm going to give you a little bit of tough love. You're lazy. You're lazy. You made one phone call on a channel that has 300 checks for you, and you called it quits when one gave you a no answer. That's not what Johnny did. Johnny made 15 phone calls in 4 days. 15 phone calls in 4 days and got $80,000 by getting 50% rejection rate. And now I have 300 checks for you. 300 checks for you. That's why Lorraine is at 150,000. That's why Margaret keeps on getting checks. That's why Nisa keeps on getting checks. Mark at 166,000. Dragon 177,000. You don't make one phone call and call it quits. You're lazy. And I love you to death, but that ain't gonna cut it. And anyone does that, I think to myself, you must be really rich because I'm telling you, there's a recession coming. There's a 2-year recession coming, and you're making phone call and saying, you know what, I'm done with this. I got other stuff to go do. What are you doing? You're counting the gold bullion in the bank? What are you doing? Because you made one phone call and you're done? That's lazy. Don't do that. Now, let's go back into what you do. You go into this video, you become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power Casino VIP. You get that membership newsletter. You go down, apply for check A, B, and C. Then go down, apply for E through K. And then L and M all the way to O. This is great stimulus, folks. I got money for almost every different walk of life that you wanted. I got money for car, computer, internet, the kitchen. I really got, is there a room of the home? I don't have something for you. I don't know. Maybe I don't have the bedroom. Maybe I do. There's literally something for almost all different walks of life. And that is why you got to do it. Now, let's go back into this situation of where this market's going to go over the next few days and over the next few years. First, broad stroke. As Jeremy Siegel said, it's going to be a very dark recession. Dark recession is what I projected. In spring of this year, when I said in February, as the first American broadcaster anywhere, just even say the word recession, I said it's going to be a 2-year recession that really starts in January of next year. Financial cliff, as I projected, is underway right now, but the financial cliff, whatever you're seeing right now, is not really the hurt. Last Friday, stocks were down 6% in one day. In one day, they were down 6%. Some stocks earlier that week, like FedEx, really took a major tumble, down 16% or 50% in one day. They're going down a lot more. They're going to go down a lot more. Some stocks are already down 50%, and they will go down even more. What are you going to see as this recession grows? You're going to see days that you sort of wake up, you're having your morning coffee, you turn on the TV, and it says, the beloved retail department store is closing 20 stores in 30 states. You're going to hear a lot of those type of breaking news stories on your morning local news. And it's going to be that department store you've loved a long time. And the next day, the story may be, and they're declaring Chapter 11 restructuring bankruptcy protection. You're going to hear that type of stuff. And then suddenly, all the people that work at those stores are going to say, well, you know, there's a lot of jobs out there. I'll get a job. And they're going to look and they're going to say, wait, they're not hiring at the other department store. They're not hiring at this store either. And they're not hiring at that store either. You're going to see store closures. You're going to see businesses go under that are publicly traded Fortune 500 companies. Let's go to private businesses. Mom and pops, sadly, that I helped survive the pandemic by getting them EIDL grants, EIDL loans, PPPs, upwards of $200,000 I was getting small businesses. I don't have any money for you at all for business assistance. I do have this. I do have this for your household. So the husband and wife that own the business, I have stuff for you as individually, but I don't have anything for your business, for your nail salon, your hair salon, your $12 yogurt business. I don't have anything for the business. And those businesses are going to go away. They're going to go under. They're absolutely going to go under. Let's go over to the other industries. Housing. I'm projecting the 30-year fixed mortgage rate is going to go from 6% where it is right now to 7%. Yeah. So if you're house flipping and you really cannot hold the house, get out of that house. Anyone that's gone into housing as sort of a speculative environment, buying and selling, if you don't get out of that business right now, you're going to lose your shirt because you will not have buyers at a 6% mortgage. You're not going to have buyers at a 7% mortgage. On the other side, if you have to be a buyer, I don't know why you would have to buy a house, but maybe some people have to buy a house. Buy it right now. What's going to happen to people who cannot afford to buy? They're going to have to rent. And what's going to happen to the rent? The rent is going to go higher. Does it sound like you're getting hit on both sides? It does. It absolutely is what's going to go on. Let's go over to other industries. The next industry I'm projecting to really get hit badly, and you're hearing for the first time on this broadcast, is auto. The auto manufacturers are getting really hit because what do? They raise prices through the roof, thinking that they had unlimited demand from buyers who are generally buying cars on loans. And then now the car buyers are going to show up and say, I can't afford this loan. I'm not signing on the dotted line on this one. I can't afford this rate. Why is it so expensive? Oh, that's because of the interest rates going through the roof. And yeah, those car payments now are looking at about, I think it's $800 a month. $800 a month for a car? For a loan on a car? It's just insane. So people are not going to buy the cars, and the auto manufacturers are not going to sell the cars. And suddenly the inventory is going to build up, and then, yeah. Do you remember before, in the last financial crisis, brands of cars just disappeared? Can you tell me where Pontiac is? Is it with my bacon? Where's Pontiac? Yeah, these brands will just start to, these brands that are very beloved are going to just sort of start to disappear. Let's go over to cryptocurrency. What's going to happen with cryptocurrency? Well, however bad it is right now, it's generally going to get worse. My projection on Bitcoin is that it's going to go to 15,000 by the end of this year. Yes. And my projection on Ethereum is going to go to about $800 by the end of this year. Yes. For my Decentraland nights, I see one in the live chat stretching her hammies. For my Decentraland nights, I expect that to stabilize. Decentraland has really held up, and the metaverse coins have held up really well. They have not really gone lower than about 69 cents. They've been about 75, 70, 69. If you look over the last 2 weeks when the rest of crypto has really imploded, the metaverse coins have really held up. The stock market as a whole will continue to implode, will go down a lot more, 30% more. You should not be buying any stocks. And bonds will continue to go higher, higher, higher. Investment grade bonds will go very, very high, and people will potentially move into bonds as well. And finally, during the pandemic, coming out of the pandemic, there was a business model elsewhere where people would put up an image of themselves as a thumbnail for a video and say, and they would look shocked and sad and horrified. And they would always tell you bad news when the economy was pretty good, when things were up. That was their business model, telling you things were bad. Now, understand, things are bad. Please understand that things are bad. So if you see people sort of reacting with this, everything is horrible, understand now that thumbnail makes sense. Now the thumbnail is relevant. They use it as a way to bring in business before, and it was disingenuous, but now it's true. Things are bad, and things are going to get worse. And that, my friends, is really why the tough love is needed. For that person who makes one phone call to the county, so the county says they don't have money. I got 300 checks for you. Why are you making one phone call and calling it quits? You have so much money in the bank, you can afford to call it quits? No. You got to become a member. You got to tell your friends and family, come on over. You got to get this money now before the situation gets worse. And it's going to get worse. You got to get this money right now and pile it up, store it up, stock it up, stock up as much money of it as possible, because that rainy day is here. And that rainy day is just drizzling now. It's going to downpour later. I love you to death. And if only you had brought me some bacon. The toast is toast, the butter is butter, and the coffee is brewing. Make sure you watch that 3 o'clock afternoon show today. It's brand new. It's huge. It's very important. And I'll see you all weekend long. If you enjoyed this slightly different Mornings LALATE broadcast, jump me into the live chat and post a comment. You'll certainly like today's afternoon show because it is slightly different as well. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, God bless. Don't forget to become a member and get all these incredible checks right away. Don't wait. Become a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP, and get all these incredible checks. You deserve them. And I'll see you next if you're watching this live on the 11 o'clock show. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, stay informed, stay focused, stay blessed, stay focused, and get as much money as you can, and stay with LA for more.